I always aim high when it comes to Michael Bisping, and I want to remind you that the best-selling book, Quitters Never Win, is out tomorrow everywhere here in America. It was out in the UK earlier last year, but everywhere in America. And I want to zero in on this little recommendation right over here on the front cover, right over there. It says, quote, one of the very best MMA books ever written. Ariel Helwani, mixed martial arts reporter for ESPN. What do you think, Mike? What do you think?
I mean, listen, that for me was the highlight of my career. Never mind being in the Hall of Fame at one point, the most wins. The fact that the great Ariel Helwani, I mean, people talk about that as your nose, but truly, that is nothing compared to the ego on this man. And for you to be on the front cover of my book, I mean, it was just the best endorsement that money could ever buy.
True or false, you had no idea before I told you that I was on the front cover, that I was actually on the front cover. And deep down inside, you actually thought, you know what? Who approved this? I don't want this guy on the cover of my book.
Yeah, I was like,
I
we're
could tell.
trying to sell copies of this book, not put people off. I'm like, come on. No, thank you, Ariel. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. As you said, Quitters Never Win came out earlier in the year in the United Kingdom. Did very well. Got on the Sunday Times bestseller list. And then now tomorrow it releases in the United States. Obviously, we've changed a lot of things. The publishers wanted to take out all the British terms that maybe the Americans might not know, but it's a terrific book. The feedback that I got from it was very, very good. So if you want a copy and you want a signed copy as well, go to MikeBispingBook.com. I'll be doing a live signing over Facebook Live or something like that. So MikeBispingBook.com, get your copy, get it signed. There you go.
Wonderful. Now, we spent the week together, and the unfortunate part for me was I was with you all week, but then when the fight was over, I didn't see you anymore. I didn't get your thoughts on anything. I didn't know what you were thinking, what you were feeling afterwards. So can you tell me, you saw Conor do what he did, 40 seconds, shoulder strikes, all that stuff. How do you feel about this performance out of Conor McGregor?
Hey, listen, he did what he needed to do, and he did it in style. You can't listen. You can't hate on him. I mean, Cerrone. I think when he watches that back, he's not going to be overly proud of that performance. But Cerrone was in a tough spot, obviously coming back off two stoppages, a nasty knockout against Gagey, and then getting TKO'd against Ferguson. Mentally, that's very hard. So that was always a tough problem for him. But McGregor went out there. He looked electric. Got it done in style. I mean, so well done to him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the next fight will be.
We just spoke to Kevin Lee, who said that he wasn't impressed by the shoulder strikes. He thought the only indication that came out of that was Cowboy has no chin. Shoulder strikes should not hurt you the way they did. Is that an accurate statement?
Well, I never said that, but
No,
you're
no, no.
asking me if I agree with Kevin.
Yes, yes.
No,
Yeah.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. You can shoulder barge me in the face all day long, and I will not feel a goddamn thing. Okay, and I said this on the post-fight show. Shoulder strikes are an annoyance. Okay, they're not a lethal blow, and I don't want to hear any crap about, oh man, but he was training those, and the torque that he gets in his shoulder strikes are unlike any other shoulder strikes known to man. No, that is not the case. Shoulder strikes, when somebody does that, it's like, come on, can you stop fucking shouldering me in the face because it doesn't hurt? It's like when they stamp on your toe, or like they give you a little amethyst to the thigh. So hey, listen, it was creative, it was inventive, and that all was available to McGregor in that moment. He did well, he did good.
Would you suggest, you said something to me that I didn't really think of, but I thought you were spot on. For you, the narrative in your career throughout, the entire run up until the very end was you were great, you're a future Hall of Famer, but you can never win the big one. And then you got to the Anderson fight, and that was almost like an unofficial title fight. People said, all right, this is the big one, main event, your home country, can you do it? And you did, and then look what happened afterwards. Do you feel now? I feel like all this did, in many respects, was reinforce the narrative that Cerrone can win the big one. I don't know if he's ever going to get another big one at this point in his career. Do you agree?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I don't think he's going to get. I mean, listen, everybody loves Donald Cerrone. He's a legend of the sport, and what he's done inside the octagon is legendary. It really is. But you know, three stoppage losses in a row now, so I don't think he's going to get a fight anywhere near as big as what he had at the weekend. And the comparison you were making, as I said, same thing people used to say to me: good fighter, can't win the big one. So for when I fought Anderson Silva, I didn't know if I was ever going to get a title fight. So I looked at that as my title fight. It was against Anderson Silva. He's a legendary opponent in London, my nation's capital. So it was a big deal. So I left no stone unturned. I did everything I could to win that fight. And of course I won. That led to a title fight and then a great legendary run myself. So I think Donald, he could have done more. He could have done more, I think. But listen, it is what it is. There's two men in every fight, and you react to what happens. He got kicked in the face. It was probably days from there. What are you going to do?
And I'm not trying to compare the two of you, but worth noting when you had that label placed on you, you weren't losing in a minute, right? Like his fight against RDA,
Yeah.
another fight. You were losing big ones, but you were going the distance or third round, second round. These very quick
Distance,
finishes.
Ariel, distance, going the distance, buddy.
Yes, that's right. Well, you had a couple of second round losses here and there, but I'm just saying, like you were never losing in a minute. Which is kind of shocking for a guy who's the winningest fighter in UFC history, but then losing in a minute. It's an amazing thing. But
Yeah, well. Listen, as I said, when you get knocked out twice in a row, it's hard.
Yeah.
I talk about it in my book. When I lost to Dan Henderson at UFC 100, everybody knows what a bad knockout that was, and there's a lot of psychological demons to come back from that. And when I fought Dan Henderson in the rematch, yeah, I was cocky, yeah, I was confident, and I truly was confident. But prior to that fight, because the fight was at 6 a.m. for the American audience. Obviously, it was in England. I was out trying to have a nap through the day, and all my team, they were out, walking around Manchester, grabbing lunch, whatever. And I was trying to take a nap, but I couldn't sleep because the last time I stepped into that octagon with Dan Henderson, I got knocked out unconscious. And then the nerves and the anxiety started to creep in. Now, of course, when I got to the arena, that all kind of went out the window. But my point that I'm making is for Donald, he had two of those. Two of those he got stopped and finished and embarrassed. So it's very, very hard. I mean, fighting is an incredibly physical sport, but it's mainly mental. That's the most important side. So Donald was lacking a little bit mentally Saturday night, but that's the sport. That's the way it goes.
You told me earlier in the week you're not really buying this narrative that it's a new Conor, that he's a changed man, all this stuff. After seeing the way he reacted on Saturday and how gracious he was in victory with the grandmother and everything, do you feel like maybe there is hope that he will stay out of trouble? And no, your smiling doesn't lead me to.
I'm smiling because you know what I mean.
What?
I'm made to promote my book, maybe talk about my podcast, maybe to do all that. We're over to swing off Conor's nuts the whole time. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone's doing that. You've got his manager on here. You've got tons of people on. Do that. What you got for me, buddy? What
Okay.
you got for
I
me?
just wanted to know. I mean, you're half analyst, half author.
Hey, God bless him. He's making tons of money. He's going to fight Khabib, or I tell you what's going to happen. I'll guarantee he fights Nate Diaz next. Khabib ain't going to fight anytime soon.
Why?
Masvidal and Usman, they're probably going to fight each other. Khabib's going to fight Tony in April. Then it's Ramadan. If he beats Tony, he's not going to fight anytime soon. And Conor already teased Diaz, and that's good business for everybody involved. Fans want to see it. Everyone makes money. So there you go.
Okay.
That's what's going to happen.
All
That's
right.
my prediction.
Thank you. You just laid it out for us. Now, the last time I had you on, you revealed a story in your book that that people didn't know. You gave us a little taste of something. I don't want you to give everything away. You want people to ultimately buy this book. But is there another story?
Crossed.
What's that?
I said fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yes. Well, it seemed to work out in the UK. Is there another story that maybe we don't know about you that you can tell us a little bit about to get us to buy the book? I mean, I've read the book already, but for the people who haven't.
What was the first one I told you about? Unfortunately, when I had trouble with the law.
Yes, that was the one.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I grew up to be a cage fighter. I grew up to be somebody that steps into a cage naked and fights people. It stands to reason that maybe when I was a kid, I had a couple of beers and got into a couple of bar fights, and more than a couple, unfortunately. But I turned it all around. A story. I mean, there's so many stories in there. There's lots of anecdotes. And I had to put in a few extra ones as well for the American version. They wanted more stuff like that. So
What do you mean stuff like that? They wanted more of Michael getting in trouble?
no, they wanted a few extra stories, a few extra anecdotes. You know what I mean? They just to beef it up a little bit to really separate the American edition from the UK edition. You know what I mean? So they wanted some more acting stuff. So when I was down in Cape Town, South Africa, everyone's heard this story. I was filming the show Warrior earlier this year, and some guys tried to mug me and pulled guns out and stuck them in my faces and tried to force me into a car. So I go into the story detail about that. In fact, I was just doing another interview and they got this out of me. So I'll share this. When I fought Luke Rockhold the second time, it was a rematch, obviously, of a fight that I lost in Australia. And prior to going out to Australia for the fight, I was sparring, my last week of sparring, and I got headbutted. and that opened up a cut right on the eyelid of my good eye. Right?
Oh,
And obviously, everybody knows I have a bad eye that doesn't function particularly. Um, but that was obviously I had to keep that under wraps that the problem was so bad. So I'm in Australia, but my good eye has stitches in it. So as I'm walking into the arena to fight, the commission run over, said, Michael, the doctor needs to see you right now. And I'm like, why does the doctor want to see me? They said, your eye. They need to look at your eye. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get pulled from the fight. And anyway, they come and look at me. They're talking about my good eye because
oh,
it's got stitches in it. I'm like, holy shit. And they say, yeah, Mike, we can't let you fight with stitches in. We're going to take the stitches out right now. So I say, okay, no problem. They take the stitches out. The fight starts, and Rockhold headbutts me.
oh.
Right? And he knew there were stitches in that eye because he saw them. He mentioned them when we squared up. So he gave me a little headbutt, and it opens up the cut above my good eye. And I'm trying to fight, and blood is just pouring into my eye. So I'm wipe the blood away. But it's like if you take, a tub of paint and you pour it on a windscreen, the windshield wipers, they'll do that and it'll just smear everywhere. So I'm wiping the blood, but it's just smeared and I'm looking and all I can see is red. I can see like the shadow of Rockhold and then like I kind of, wipe it and then I'm looking and I'm trying to fight, but then the blood runs into my eye again and I'm wiping it and all I can see is red and then boom, I get hit with a head kick, whatever. I had no idea what happened. So anyway, I was pissed off about that, but I couldn't really say what happened because I didn't want to draw attention to my eye. So that's why when I was filming that movie in Toronto and I found out through yourself, Ariel, you text me that the Chris Weidman was out the fight. That's why even though the fight was on 2 weeks notice, I wanted to fight Rockhold again because I knew I could beat him. And I knew this time I'm not going to have stitches in my eye that he's going to be able to take advantage of. So that's why I took that fight on 2 weeks notice. And we know what happened after that.
You're
So there
welcome,
you go.
by the way, for that,
How's that?
for changing
Yeah.
your life, calling you up, letting you know about that. Listen, don't mention it. Don't mention it,
Ariel
please.
Helwani changed my life.
Please,
I owe it
please.
all to you.
Please,
All to
too
you.
much. Now, I actually felt a little bad because when I was working with you, I think in June, you actually took out the fake eye, and I was like, "Holy smack!" You like did it right in front of me. I didn't realize it was like that. But then you did it on your podcast, and everyone was talking about it, and I felt like, wow, I saw this first, and I felt like maybe I should have asked you about it, and I kind of blew that one. So does that one just not work at all?
No, not really.
You
Well,
can't
no,
see.
I have a fake eye that's made of plastic that's coloured, so you can't see through that. And the only reason I pulled that eye out the way I did was because Louis J. Gomez, who I do my podcast with, believe you me, check it out if you want to laugh. Um, he started wearing glasses, and we're doing the show, and he's wearing shades indoors. And I'm like, what the hell, Lewis? Who do you think you are? You've got all Hollywood. Why are you wearing shades? And then he brought up his producers. They brought up old pictures of me at press conferences and stuff wearing sunglasses indoors. And I'm like, yeah, I know that, but here's why I used to wear sunglasses because my eye was a mess. And all people are going to do is talk to me about my eye, and it looked cross-eyed and it looked dark and all this type of stuff. So I would wear the sunglasses to block that out. So I said, here's why I was wearing shades, you prick. Not because I think I'm Hollywood. It's because I'm trying to hide my eye. So that's how that happened.
Would it be rude if I ask you to see it?
You can look into my eye, Ariel. I'm not a little circus freak show, buddy. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do it. It was one and done. As I say, there was mitigating circumstances, but if you want to know more about it, it's in the book. Check it out. But yeah, there you go.
Okay, so it comes out tomorrow. MikeBispingBook.com. Isn't it true that if you actually go on the website, you'll call someone if they buy it?
So I'm trying to understand this from the publishers. They've arranged this. It's called a live signing. So obviously with the wonders of social media and technology these days, if you go to MikeBispingBook.com and you buy a book, you can also leave a message on there for the personalized message that you want inside it.
Okay.
And then I'll sign them live on Facebook and Instagram. Someone will hand me the book. They'll give me the message. I'll sign that. And there's also a chance to speak to me on the phone if anyone wants to do that. But Jesus Christ.
Right.
But there you go, MikeBispingBook.com if you want a signed copy. If you don't want one, fair enough. And if you don't want a book, fair enough. But if you do want one and you want it signed, there you go.
It is a phenomenal book, all jokes aside. And what makes it so great is that the great Ant Evans was behind it all. He is the brains behind this book. One of my dear friends. There it is. Quitters Never Win. Michael Bisping, My Life in UFC. Before I let you go, very quick question. Tell me more about Conor McGregor. Can we talk about just, your relationship with him? And
hey, I'll tell you what. I mean, the man is excitement each and every time. Listen, love him or hate him, everybody watches, and it's simple as that. And that's what he's trying to do. That's what he's doing. That's what you got to do at a fight. You got to evoke emotion out of the audience, out of the public. I always said if I ever walked into an arena to fight and I got like a little polite golf clap, you're failing. You want passion, you want excitement, and that's what he brings. And he certainly delivers every time he fights as well. He's the most exciting guy in the UFC for a reason.
Michael, I love you. Lovely to work with you. Lovely to see your son, Callum, the great Callum Bisping, who's going to be a superstar wrestler at the University of San Francisco and perhaps one day represent Great Britain in the Olympics. Wouldn't that be cool? So great to see you guys and hang out with you guys in Vegas.
Appreciate that, Ariel. Yeah, he's actually flying out to Austria for his first tournament representing Great Britain. I think it's 202 pounds is the weight limit, so he'll be out in Austria. And yeah, you never know. Maybe in the Olympics one day. Thank you, Ariel. I appreciate it, buddy. And as you say, always great working with you, my friend.
Yes, sir. And check out the book. Truly, MikeBispingBook.com comes out tomorrow. It's a phenomenal read. I really do mean that. Quitters Never Win is the book. Thank you very much to Michael Bisping and Ant Evans, who did a phenomenal job putting the book together for making this happen. Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.